Okay, welcome to the deep dive. If you're here, you want to cut through the noise, get straight to what's important, and maybe save some time doing it.
Exactly. Information overload is real.
It really is. So today we're tackling social emotional learning, specifically for preschoolers. Lots of talk about it, but what actually works? What's got the evidence?
Yeah, which programs are actually making a measurable difference?
We're trying to give you a bit of a shortcut here. We're basing this on a big systematic review published back in May 2022 in Educational Psychology Review.
And systematic reviews are great because they pull together lots of different studies. This one looked at, what, 81 studies?
81 studies, yeah, covering 38 different classroom-wide programs for preschoolers. I mean, they really did the legwork.
That's a massive amount of research to sift through. Gives us a really solid overview.
Right, so our goal, our mission for this dive is pretty straightforward. Figure out which programs actually stand up to scrutiny. Which ones are genuinely well-established based on solid research.
So we can understand the best practices, basically.
Yeah.
What should people be looking for?
Exactly. A fast track to understanding what works in helping little kids with those really crucial social and emotional skills.
And it's worth just pausing on why this is so important for preschoolers, right? The review itself makes this point.
Oh, absolutely. The abstract hits it hard. These early skills, they're foundational. They link directly to mental health, later school success.
It's not just about kids being nice. It's about managing feelings, empathy, getting along.
Skills they need for, well, life, not just the classroom. These aren't optional extras.
Totally agree. They're the bedrock.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got all these programs, 38 of them looked at in this review. You'd think, okay, lots of evidence out there.
You would think that. But here's the kicker, the really interesting bit from the review.
Yeah.
Only 10.5%. Just over 1 in 10 of these widely used classroom programs actually met the tough criteria to be called well-established evidence-based programs.
Wow, 10.5%. That's
Yeah.
surprisingly low.
Isn't it? It really makes you stop and think. It shows why you can't just assume a program works because it's, popular or sounds good.
Right. Popular doesn't always equal proven. So this review is like a filter, helping us see what's actually got the strong science behind it.
Precisely. It's that shortcut we mentioned. Okay, so let's dig into what well-established actually means here. It's not just like a feeling.
No, it's about the rigor of the research.
Mhm.
The review had specific standards, specific hoops these programs had to jump through.
Yeah, usually in these big reviews, well-established means you've got multiple high-quality studies, often those randomized controlled trials, showing consistent positive results.
And crucially, ruling out that the results were just luck or, some other factor.
Exactly. So these programs, the ones that made the cut, they've been properly tested. And the good news is, for that small group, the review found some pretty clear benefits.
Okay, so what were the main positive impacts they saw with these top-tier programs?
Well, the big one was a clear, significant boost in the kids' overall social-emotional competence.
Which means things like understanding their own emotions, managing them.
Yeah, exactly. And understanding others' feelings, building relationships, handling social situations better. Think how vital that is day to day in a preschool room.
Absolutely essential. And does that have knock-on effects?
It seems so. The review also pointed to a reduced risk of emotional and behavioral problems down the line.
Okay, so maybe fewer meltdowns, less acting out, better self-control when things get tricky?
Could be. Stuff that makes the classroom environment better for everyone, really.
That makes sense.
And this was something I found really fascinating. There was emerging evidence, so maybe not quite as solid yet, but still promising, of positive effects on executive functions.
Oh, interesting. So things like self-control, working memory, focus.
Exactly. Those core brain skills needed for learning anything, really. It suggests these SEL programs might actually be boosting cognitive skills, too, not just emotional ones.
That's a really powerful potential link. So focusing on the heart and mind together, in a way.
Kind of, yeah. And it didn't stop there. Also, emerging evidence for better overall school readiness.
So these well-established programs aren't just helping in preschool. They're potentially setting kids up for a smoother start to kindergarten or primary school.
That seems to be the implication. Helping them now and preparing them for what's next.
That's incredibly encouraging. It gives educators, parents too, a bit more clarity on where to focus efforts.
Definitely. But And this is important. These results aren't just wishful thinking. The review really stressed that these findings came from well-conducted studies. They looked hard at the risk of biases.
Right. The quality of the research itself matters hugely. You need to trust the methods.
Absolutely. If the study design is flawed, the results don't mean much. So what did they find about the research quality for these well-established programs?
So the good news is, for key things, they rated the risk of bias as low.
Like what specifically?
Well, first, how kids were put into groups. Random assignment, that's like the gold standard, right?
Mm.
It helps make sure the groups are similar to start with.
Yeah, so you're not accidentally comparing apples and oranges. Low bias there is good.
Very good. It means differences you see later are more likely because of the program, not because the groups were different from day one.
Makes sense. What else?
Also, low risk of bias for baseline equivalence, which is basically checking that those groups were actually similar at the start on important measures.
Okay, so double checking that the random assignment worked, essentially.
Pretty much. And one more, low risk related to attrition.
Yeah.
That just means not too many people dropped out of the studies.
Because if lots of specific types of kids leave a study, it can skew the results, right?
Exactly. If, say, all the kids finding it difficult dropped out, it might make the program look more effective than it really is for everyone. So low attrition means the results are probably more reliable for the whole group.
Okay, so strong methods underpins these positive findings. Random assignment, similar groups at the start, people sticking with the study, that definitely adds weight.
It really does. It means we can be much more confident that these specific programs genuinely work. And it wasn't just, flaws in how they were studied.
Right. Okay, so the review identifies these strong programs, highlights their benefits, and confirms the research is solid. But the researchers didn't just leave it there, did they? They talked about implications, next steps.
Yeah, they looked ahead. What does this all mean, and where do we go from here?
One big suggestion was, well, maybe these programs that are well established, they should be held up as examples, best practices.
Promote them, basically, so schools know, okay, these ones have the evidence.
Exactly. Use them as models for implementing SEL more widely. Like this review points you towards what good looks like.
Makes total sense. Why reinvent the wheel if something proven already exists?
But they also flagged areas where we still need more research. We don't have all the answers yet.
Okay, like what?
A big one was figuring out the specific active ingredients. Like, what exactly is it about these successful programs that makes them work? Is it one specific activity? The teacher training? The materials?
The secret sauce question. If you could isolate the key components, you could maybe make other programs better or develop new ones more effectively.
Precisely. We know the dish tastes good, but what are the exact spices, the techniques? We need that recipe.
That's crucial for refining things.
Yeah.
What else did they highlight?
The other major thing was context. Real-world schools are messy, right? What works in a controlled research study might hit bumps when you roll it out everywhere.
Oh, definitely. You've got different levels of teacher buy-in, different school cultures, different student needs.
All that stuff. So we need to understand which factors in the school environment help these programs succeed or hinder them when they go from the lab to, Tuesday morning PE.
Right. How do you make sure it's implemented well in practice, not just on paper? That implementation science piece is huge.
Exactly. So finding the well-established programs is step one. Step two is figuring out the secret sauce and how to make it work reliably in lots of different kitchens, so to speak.
Bridging that gap between research and the real world. Always a challenge, but so important.
Okay, so now the big question listeners probably have. Which programs? You said well-established. Which ones are they?
Right, the names.
The review did identify specific ones. They mentioned analyzing 24 studies in more detail, covering 4 specific programs that met that well-established bar.
So there are concrete examples out there that this review points to.
There are, but, and this is the slightly frustrating part of working just from this excerpt, the actual names of those 4 programs, they aren't listed in the piece we have access to right now.
Okay. So the review identifies that they exist and analyzes them, but doesn't name them in this summary section.
Exactly. If we had the full paper, that'd be the gold nugget, listing those 4 programs. That would be the ultimate shortcut for listeners wanting specific recommendations.
That is a bit of a shame for practical application right now.
Yeah.
But it's good to know the detailed analysis exists somewhere.
It is. And the review title itself, classroom-wide interventions for preschoolers' social-emotional learning. It suggests that if someone really wanted to track down those names, searching academic databases for systematic reviews on this topic, possibly citing this specific review, might lead them there.
Okay, so the information is likely findable, just requires a bit more digging beyond this specific discussion.
Correct. Think of this deep dive as giving you the framework, the critical lens. You now know what kind of evidence to look for, and you know that only a few programs currently seem to meet that high bar.
It's about asking the right questions, evaluating the claims you hear about different programs.
Exactly. Okay, let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways for everyone listening.
Well, first, lots of SEL programs out there for preschoolers, but maybe surprisingly few have really strong, rigorous evidence behind them, only about 10% in this big review.
Right. Finding those evidence-based gems takes effort, or, listening to deep dives like this one that summarize the research for you. It's a shortcut to knowing which ones pass the test.
And those well-established programs, they seem to deliver real benefits.
Yeah, better social emotional skills overall, fewer behavioral issues, and even potential boosts for things like self-control, memory, and general school readiness.
And we can trust these findings more because they're based on pretty solid research methods, low risk of bias in key areas.
Definitely. So, final thought to leave everyone with. Given that so few programs are currently well established, what does that mean for schools, for parents choosing programs?
Yeah. What questions should people be asking before adopting something new? Should the focus shift more heavily towards demanding that evidence base?
What's our responsibility, really, to prioritize the things that have been shown to work? Something to mull over.
It definitely highlights the need for careful consideration, moving beyond just popularity.
Hopefully, this dive has helped clear things up a bit, giving you that shortcut into understanding the research landscape for preschool SEL. Thanks for joining us.